Let's do this real quick. Share it one more time. Got it. Well, good evening. All right. Hello. Good evening, Gotham. Good evening, Metropolis, Emerald City, to the rest of you, the crack staff, little monkeys on acid, the far left, the far right, and the world now, after 2 years, if not longer, depending upon where you stood on the Orange Man, that so mistrusting of establishment media that the establishment media and the technocracy have to go after this format, or writing a blog, or posting a tweet. And so mistrusting now the world became over the pandemic. Yet, like moths to the flame, or simply lemmings, feeding off a 24-hour news cycle that is reporting emotion and the heroes and the victims. We're hearing a lot of condemnation from the European allies and the European Union and NATO and the United Nations and even the White House. Hell, even Governor Colorado Jared Polis has to stick his you-know-what in there and make sure that he lets the world know that Colorado will provide sanctions. The media's so swift locally, they were actually able to find local merchants that don't sell that. They're yanking. If it comes from the Soviet Union, we're not going to sell it. Well, where does that set of dominoes fall next? This boycotting and banning and condemning. I have 4 pages of headlines today. It was an amazing, and I used to joke about it on my radio show, of the Take Out the Trash News headlines for a Friday or a Monday because of what they dump. But there is a lot of Ukraine news. We're looking at 2,000, possibly initial accounts of about 1,200, now estimates high as 2,200 Russian soldiers are dead. Ukrainian losses in the hundreds. Uh-oh. The media quick to point out citizens in the Ukraine making Molotov cocktails. They're not reporting the Ukrainian sabotage of the railways from the Soviet Union into Ukraine. Logistics is going to be the biggest nightmare now. We've heard for 3 days in a row that Kiev, not Kyiv. If you want to say Kyiv, then you're one of the United States wussies of America. Can't change the name and change the story. 3 days. Kiev or Kyiv is about to fall. Russian troops on the ground. Taking no prisoners, taking no hostage, complete chaos. We got some interesting data points that suggest that this may be just an absolute psyop. Again, President Vladimir Zelensky, he's in fatigues. He's ammoed up. He's ready to fight. And the rest of the world are wearing suits. This is not looking good. Friday, take out the trash. President Joe Biden had to take a victory lap before his upcoming State of the Union address and announce the latest Supreme Court Justice nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Democrats quickly rallying to a speedy confirmation. Republicans would like to have a conversation with her. We'll see where this goes. I'm going to jump through the. There's so much of war, but the dump of headlines. On the economic landscape, the price of a barrel of Brent crude is now over $100 a barrel. NATO, in their response and their emergency meeting, have activated their response unit. The response unit is designed to protect the NATO states if Putin continues to advance his Russian troops further than Ukraine. The Ukrainian armed forces are pointing out that Kiev is being cleared of the remaining saboteurs. That's been in the last 18-hour news cycle as of 1:07 a.m. Eastern for 2/27/2022. According to the Defense of Ukraine in their Twitter feed, active combat operations were taking place in the capital city of Kiev. Russian street fighters were on the streets of the central capital as of 1:20, and now we're headlines 1:27, as of 1 a.m. Eastern, which is we're 8:00. That can't be right. Oh, that is because of Eastern time. I was going to say that's not 9 hours. We are 8 minutes after 8 a.m. in Kiev. Again, the big response was President Zelensky's tweet that just went around. Hey, you're gonna need to be evacuated. Come on, let's get out of here. The fight is here. I need ammunition, not a ride. Initial accounts of approximately 1,000 protesters arrested in Moscow turn out that number now exceeding 1,700. Media not giving much attention to that, but all of the show of solidarity across the United States in what color lights we're going to turn our buildings, bridges, and Hillary Clinton. Okay, we're going to breathe. Better, you know what? I need. Okay. I just gonna need a moment here off camera and get some cigarettes and get a lighter. Oh dear God. Hillary Clinton is making the rounds of the media. Excuse me. Maybe I might need you. Come over here. I have to talk about Hillary right now. And I'd rather talk. Oh, we can't. This is treason. Hey, look, if you're really going to pull this nonsense, do you want to talk about the rate of alcoholism in the United States and how many alcoholics turn to this because of vodka and all the urban legends and everything else? Let's talk about the vodka. Let's talk about the chemicals in this. I should have gotten a bottle of Dan Aykroyd somewhere in the house. I've got one. Never mind the storage. They were props on the show. I've got a Dan Aykroyd Crystal Head vodka. Or I may have given it away. I don't know. Do everything you can to avoid Hillary right now. All right, we're going to breathe. These are data points. Hillary Rodham Clinton talking about the military action and exercises of Vladimir Putin in the Ukraine. Quote. Oh, I'm sorry. What was the question? She's asked about how President Biden is handling this and how she feels as the former Secretary of State and pantsuit many Americans hate. That where do you see this going, Hillary? Where's your confidence? What, help the American people understand, Hillary. You equally have a vast experience in foreign policy and foreign affairs. She said, quote, President Biden has had to rebuild trust. Confidence, sorry, has had to rebuild trust, confidence, and confidence. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. See, I can't even quote her. Have to cackle. Let's try this again. Hillary Clinton said President Biden has to rebuild trust and confidence in NATO and in the United States. President Biden has to rebuild confidence. Trump. Okay, okay, Hillary, I'm getting it. We need to work on rebuilding our credibility and leverage. Work. Hillary wouldn't know a day of work in her life if it walked up and slapped her. Oh my goodness. President Biden and the White House are asking Congress for $6.4 billion in defense and NATO support, humanitarian aid, and beefing up cybersecurity. Sounds a lot more like infrastructure spending, doesn't it? The media keeps chiming in on, it appears Putin has invaded Ukraine. Which has me why I write, is this a psyop? From everything we're learning, everything we're hearing, everything we're seeing, how do we know what we're hearing is true? How do we know what we're seeing because of being able to deepfake video and Photoshop everything and CGI everything? How do we know? Calls to boycott vodka. Cybersecurity. I've got too many pages to jump here, and I apologize. White House. Further sanctions being announced, along with the decision by the European community and the European Union regarding the, hey, why can't we just turn Russia and turn them off with SWIFT? We can't do that. But we can take certain steps. And wait a minute, I thought we've all agreed that sanctions aren't going to prevent them from doing anything. It's just to, okay, more sanctions. Initial reports of approximately 100,000 homeless in the capital city, that those numbers are now completely out the window. Estimating right now, by definition, 2 million homeless because they're Ukrainian refugees fleeing on foot, on car, in trucks, as quickly as they can to the Polish border. Sorry, they're not all going to the Polish border, but that's where a lot of them are going. In the meantime, Poland, I do have that. Ooh, that one might be on my Twitter. Poland is providing defense and aid as well now to Ukraine because they see the writing on the. You're protected by now. Are you guys nuts? Are you watching this? Well, we're in a meeting right now getting ready to vote on whether or not we should condemn them. Well, have a good meeting. Shelling continues in the western portion of Ukraine. There are debates right now as to who has air supremacy. There are some interesting numbers coming out of the casualties and losses by the Soviet Army, the Russians, Soviet Army, and versus the number of casualties taken by Ukraine. Um, Last account, approximately 200 Ukrainians dead. Last count, it's two different numbers. It's 1,200 dead and it's 2,000 dead. We're not getting accurate numbers. The worldwide media is applauding the real-time intelligence that's coming out from the community. We're not getting intelligence. We're getting a lot of misinformation. They like to continue, the media, to use the term fog of war as we attempt to find the heroes and the victims. You're creating the fog of war. Portions of the internet have been hacked allegedly by anonymous attacks on Russian cyberspace, including the Kremlin. They are taking credit for the group Anonymous, as well as other anonymous hackers are starting to misbehave. Request to Elon Musk regarding the situation and not being able to communicate intelligence or anything else if the internet goes down was a request to Elon Musk for Starlink. Elon Musk, in a matter of literally a half a dozen hours, was able to confirm to the world Starlink is in place. It was 6 hours, sorry. Within that 6 hour time frame of the 24 hour, oh, it's in place and we're sending you more. The world now, oh, that's great. Well, you need the encoder decoder gear to get Starlink in the house or on your phone. So I don't know why this misdirection is going on, other than are Starlink satellites also used for intelligence, military intelligence? Don't know. This is the most interesting story coming out of the world of the military, as concerns by our leaders about what will happen to the culture and the diversity of the Ukrainians and how many refugees each voting district, state, can get. A report out about our military strength or lack thereof. The other night I was discussing this argument of the military might of the United States. This is unbelievable. And I hope you don't believe anything I'm saying. I hope you will go and find out for yourself if I'm telling you the truth. It's being called the Nintendo generation. And this is off Vice News. Here's the problem. More injuries are now taking place bringing the kids to boot camp. Just to boot camp. We're not talking combat training or anything else. We're talking boot camp. The Nintendo generation is great if you just want them sitting in a trailer running drones. That's not what we need. Oh, that's what the world wants, is aerial supremacy, 24-hour surveillance, and the ability to digitally zap or target you militarily in a heartbeat. That's what they want. But we're seeing all that military hardware by the Soviets and foot soldiers, Ukrainians, they're stopping the you-know-what show. And I don't remember who said this. I've been listening and divulging and absorbing so much media, more so in the last year than I did when I was even normally on air. But the argument is about guerrilla warfare and the power. The media wants to talk about shock and awe. You want to get rid of shock and awe like that? I can't believe I'm going to say this because I'm going to put it in the universe. And this is going to wind up coming into play in the next 30 days. Because this is, the media wanted this a mop-up operation. They wanted this like Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Gulf War One. They wanted, a big escalation of mass. Go in, we're done. Let's say there's a dozen major cities in the Ukraine. Okay. You know what I need? I need 18 snipers. And I'll explain the reason for the 8. If you got 12 cities, why? No, I want 18 snipers. For a very specific reason. But in the discussion of members of Congress patting themselves on the back, pointing out that the citizens of Ukraine are being able to defend themselves because the Ukrainian government handed out weapons, automatic weapons, assault rifles, that the U.S. taxpayers paid for. Okay. What appear to be AK-47s by ABC, NBC News field reporters. What is it? Ian, the international. Yeah, that Ian guy is in it. Can't wait to see Ian with his gas mask on. Um, 10,000 automatic weapons. Let's call them AKs. All right. Not the AK you get to buy at the store here unless you go through an extra 6-month round background check. And instead of paying $1,000 or $1,200 for an AK, you're paying, $15,000, $20,000 for an automatic. Just to, let's be clear. Let's be clear. I'm sick of that phrase. Well, let's unpack these headlines. I'm not unpacking anything for you. I'm speaking off the notes here. Uh, this shock and awe and all the technology and all of the military mass and the might and hurrah. Oh man, you really want to this up fast. Okay. You don't need 10,000 automatic weapons. You need 1,000 Ruger 1022s in the right hands. So you want to put it up to 10,000 AKs, then I'll settle for that. But I don't need that much firepower out there. I need a good 1,000 guys who know how to handle a Ruger 1022. Let's start there. What? Yeah, I don't want to bring up Israel and we're going to have to because of the ghost. Shh. Getting ahead of ourselves. So you got 1,000 guys running around with the 1022. That's its first problem right there. And with all your military might, boy, you're going, man, you guys think you're running around now. 12 major cities, 18 snipers. Here's why. I'm going to rotate them. One sniper per city. And let them. Well, here's your fog of war. All right, we have the no fly. Yeah, we got this. Okay. Well, they're in town. Yep. So between these hours, you see anyone in this uniform, out. Clear. That takes care of the uniform part. Okay. For now. Now, wherever you decide to go play in this town, not to breach protocol of snipers, but we need, and you know what, let's call it war chalking, but we're going to need a little map. Your smartphone and zap it over, but we're going to need primitive marking, and here's the specific split. You think that I'm thinking, to put the sniper there when the... Nope. Now, my team of snipers, I would be versed with in that, yeah, my guys can sit in place for 10 days without blinking an eye. After 21 days, they're bored. That's pretty... I'm just saying, look, we are having a discussion about horror. war. But I'd know my team. How long can we sit in this before, because again, bored may be the wrong word, just becoming repetitive. Not to suggest predictable, but in the conventional, if I'm going to keep a sniper over there, or a sniper over here, or a sniper over there, and the reason for just rotating them city to city, no, 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 no. So when the next guy comes in, oh, he was over there, he was down here. Oh, I like that spot. I like that now. While you're over there, that may have been your first guy's, that was his third fit. He didn't want to be over there. The new guy, he likes being over there. Why? Because in the last place, he was over here. And now his observations and his head count. Sorry. Hate to be so technical, but I mean, this is sniper fire. You better be doing your job right. So, knowing the rotation of these guys, let's just say every 10 days, they need a little, well, that's 50%. Meanwhile, I've still got 6 extra snipers. So you can be rotating 50% of the time. You can still be rotating cities. And I still got a couple extra. Well, I need an extra one. All right. Call so-and-so. He's going to love... Destroys morale. You want to somebody's day. Where the fuck did that come from? And you just keep it up. I hate to bring up the Taliban, you know. They're, of course, tweeting that they're not comfortable with the situation. We need to negotiate peace. Okay. Nintendo. Shock and awe. Tangent. Snipers. We're back. This discussion of this Nintendo generation and a bunch of wussies don't have muscles. And here's what's worse. Your little vegan diets and your processed chicken nuggets and all the other crap you've been eating. You have brittle bones. You don't drink milk. You don't go out in the sun. You don't get UV. You eat everything processed, delivered because you hit a button on your phone. And you're going to be our next 21st century super soldiers? The bone density is less now in our soldiers in basic training. Ergo, more brittle. They're suffering. What do you got? We're going to have to be nicer to these new... You just see 30 push-ups is a lot. Let them do as many as they can. At the end of the day, the media in the West is having to report that Ukrainian resistance is much stronger than was expected. Everyone's so used to apologizing and rolling over and playing dead. And I got to shout out to Joe Bartnick. Peace, love, and grooviness, Joe. Joe and I had the Tate-our-Tate with the Risk board, which is, for us, playing Risk is this is a big kids game. The media wants quickly, this isn't a big kids game of Risk. Yeah, it is. And immediately, where do most people go in those certain generations? They go to the Seinfeld episode of where Newman and Kramer are playing Risk. And ultimately, it goes poorly down in the subway because of a joke. I'm getting ready to take Ukraine. Ukraine is weak. Uh-oh. New York City subway. See, back then, they just kicked the crap out of each other. Now you get stabbed. And the mayor wants more diversity. He says, enough of this. We're not doing this anymore. And people continue to be stabbed in the subway. Good for you, Mayor. But the issue of the kids entering basic training and suffering injury brings up a better question. Everyone in the media is talking about this is the largest incursion since World War II. All right. When we're not at war with Afghanistan or war with Korea, when it was the, I'm sorry, in order, when it was the Korean conflict and then Vietnam and, everything from the Falkland Islands to Afghanistan. Have we lost more soldiers now to friendly fire than to engaging in war? This entire discussion about the new recruits coming in with brittle bones and this Nintendo generation, they're calling it, that have very narrow skill sets. And a lot of them all have the same narrow skill set. This is dangerous, especially since we see what our birth rate, our mortality rate is, and then nobody wants to have a kid anymore. Well, I mean, why would you? They could grow up and be like me. And I question the friendly fire because this whole series of reports coming out of the military are regarding basic training. How many injuries and dead in combat training? And we hear these stories. Oh, this Hell Week is that's why we call it Hell Week. I just want to then earn them and shut up. But it hurts. It's just too painful and mean and it's aggressive. And we're supposed to be the United States military. We eat like you for breakfast. You're being mean. I'm going to tell my sergeant. Ukraine, the people of Ukraine, the rebels, the language they're using. The Ukrainians have already destroyed portions of, again, the logistics of bringing in the rail cars. Well, that railroad. However, the Russians were bombing the bridges, meanwhile bringing in their own portable ones that they could control. That made no sense. Everyone says that Putin is a madman. I suggest that the rest of the crack staff are madmen because they're all on this opinion that, well, this is how we should be behaving and he's not, so he's nuts. Hey, I make a deal with you. Let's have President Biden take a cognitive test, and let's have President Putin take a cognitive test. And as much as they're demonizing Zelensky, throw one in there as the control balance. Take him off the internet right now. He's talking crap about the Jewish people. No. Nice try. He is a white supremacist. Nice try. He hates gay people. Nice try. The ghost of Ukraine. For those of you who listen to the Conspiracy Keepers, you will know that I am still a degenerate gambler. It is a hobby. It's a war game. If I could get a bookie right now to take bets on the war, you don't think I would not be sitting here with you. I'd be in a sleazy bar down in Denver somewhere. Denver? There's no behavior like that in Denver. I had to drive through Denver to go to where I need to go. Betting. This nonsense of the Ukrainian ghost. All right. If, for the sake of discussion, the initial reports of the Ukrainian ghost, this is the fighter pilot in the fighter plane, if they are true, and that he shot down 6 Russian planes. Because understanding something, people, our military aircraft, their military aircraft, the world military aircraft, I hate mil-spec. I hate to bring up the obvious when you idiots say that word, but okay. There's not a lot of difference in some of these aircraft. There's really not. So at the end of the day, it comes down to the skill of the pilot, not the plane. And if the initial reports and accounts of the ghost of Ukraine are true, place your bets. Who's the pilot? The too obvious one is this is a Ukrainian pilot. He may be born of Ukraine. He may have Ukrainian blood. He may have a relative. You're assuming the pilot in that plane is a Ukrainian Air Force pilot. No. And then you have to look and understand the world and the theater of operations when it comes to aerial combat and tactical warfare. As bad as our own U.S. military is looking, worrying about diversity and all kinds of goofy training and new suits that make, the world a better place. I'm not saying our pilots aren't, that's not what I'm saying. But what other nations have the ability to have a pilot like that? Our evil enemy to the north, Canada. Canadian pilots can fly side by side with the U.S. pilots. But there is another group of pilots that I know military peeps who watch this are just going to rail me. But if we have to rank them 1, 2, and 3, Israel. Sorry. Is this an Israeli Mossad agent, or is this an Israeli IDF, Israeli Defense Force? My guess, if the Ukrainian ghost story is true, if the accounts are accurate, if the number of jets taken out by this pilot are true, and it's revealed the pilot is not, again, this is where it's going to get sketchy. He may have been wherever for COVID and his family. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a guy. It's a guy. Ladies, put your foot away right now. That pilot is a guy. Okay? Sorry. Start the comments. It's not about gay people. It's not. He just hates women. I love women. Okay? Especially when you start snapping your head like that. Makes me smile. Makes me know I'm doing my job. No. Ladies, I'm sorry. No. No. You're not flying. I'm sorry. That's not a 2-seater. Have a nice day. You're not in the back seat telling them what to do. Sorry. Nah. Even if it is a 2-seater, those are guys. Okay? They live together, they sleep together, they eat together, they breathe together, together. All right? They are a team. But if I had $100 bill and it was my last bet on this earth, give me 100 on the Israel's 3-1, America's 2-5, and We put Canada there for fun because we find you amusing. I think it is. I think it's an Israeli Mossad agent. He may have been IDF, but no, this is Mossad. This guy is. And again, similar aircraft. That's all these guys do. Maybe why they don't have to be out there condemning everybody for it. Well, they do have to because they're always being attacked. Oh, there's where they're getting their Okay, now I remember. I forgot about Israel and Palestine. Yeah, you're right, Scooter. You might want to consider the possibility. You also may want to consider the entire possibility that the Ukrainian ghost story is a hoax. You will note that I said, if what is true, if this is, if. Well, if I had that recipe and I know what I know, oh, my money's over here. You're trying to profit off Jewish people. That proves you hate them. No, I respect them. And I understand their talents and their skill set, and I understand their plight. And they don't run around preaching their victimhood. They make sure it ain't ever gonna happen again. I respect that. I don't respect those who condemn the bully. I respect those who get up and go, not today. The initial accounts for tomorrow, 2/27/2022, unless, oh no, we shot him down. It's a Kenyan Israeli. Actually, remember the Jamaican bobsled team years ago? He's the grandson of, or he's the child of, so he's the first child of a Jamaican bobsledder who turned out to be the world's greatest pilot. Fine, if you need that narrative to make your world a better place tomorrow, then good for you. I'm just telling you my bet's on Israel. And remember last time anybody wanted to bring her up? Oh, I'm her. Talking about, the White House reporter, Helen Thomas, asking Mr. President the obvious soft-pissed question about nuclear weapons in the world. Anyone else on that list you want to disclose today? Israel, excuse me. And then she was ushered out the side door because she made, she's been in the White House since, LBJ. Actually, she was in the White House. My point is that who was more foul-mouthed? Again, unconfirmed, the ghost of Kiev. And the people are looking for heroes in the fog of war coming out of the media in the West. Reports of whether it was initially shelling or possibly a missile. Of course, the missile strike confirmed in the capital city of, whoa, what was that? And yet nobody was injured because the building was evacuated. So is this part of the media psyop? Combat Operation 1700. The refugee crisis continues to grow. Another round of fighting in multiple cities in the Ukraine, including Kiev. Don't you just want to throw up hearing this, all these idiots saying this? Growing up, never seeing a map and then seeing that reminds me to go to a thrift store or an Ark or a Goodwill and go find an old globe from the 50s, 60s, or 70s. Here in Colorado, it was announced on Take Out the Trash News Friday, Governor Polis. That's right, the supreme commander of the Coloradan peeps. Announcing that, well, if you're fully vaxxed and you're fully boosted, you can go back to normal. Which begs the question, what about the unvaxxed? Oh, don't worry, 90% of Coloradans have their first shot. Well, that means you still need 50% or 66% more of your shots to be normal. No word yet about demonization or possible penalties for those who are not complying with the emperor allowing us to return to normal. But I question Again, this whole nonsense of Governor Polis alleging that he got rid of his emergency powers when he in fact did not. He relinquished most of them. It begs the question, what powers for emergency did he have? Speaking of emergencies, as we prepare for the State of the Union, 3/1/2022, uh-oh. The National Guard is being called out so that we don't see another January 6th type insurrection because of the convoy. Okay. We've already fear in the West, in the United States, because of the crisis in Ukraine and the clear economic impact along with supply chain issues that will besiege Colorado and the Rocky Mountains. Further concerns that the trucker convoy headed to disrupt President Biden's State of the Union address may in fact cripple the U.S. economy. And monkeys may in fact blow out my nose right now on, oh, but they didn't. But it's imminent. It's impending. Clear intelligence suggests that a state of martial law continues in the Ukraine for 2/27/2022, as it is approximately 12 minutes to 9 a.m. No men over the age of 18 and under the age of 60 are being allowed to leave the country. Women, I did make a reference. Women have picked up arms as well. Russian mail order bride will kick your ass any day, you little beta male metrosexual lisping. Just freak shows on the dance floor in the media right now. It's a crisis here. It's very emotional. Not to be outdone in the ludicrous statements of Hillary Clinton, John Kerry pointing out that Vladimir Putin is really diverting the attention of the world with this crisis in Ukraine. And if an ongoing conflict in the region were to persist, it may draw away from attention from his little cash cow, climate change. And he went further on to say that he's confident the negotiations of climate change will work out with Putin, but Putin's, negotiations with Zelensky. Zelensky's just nuts, and Putin's just nuts. Now, they're all just nuts. The American Red Cross and Catholic Charities continue to raise awareness and raise money for the refugees of the Ukraine about to besiege American soil. Democrats are now calling in Congress for more money and more weapons, masked by saying also humanitarian aid. Well, we're going to give them weapons and humanitarian aid. We got it all in 1 hour. They continue, however, with COVID mandates being relaxed in many portions of the United States. There is no coincidence whether it's an R or a D behind those leaders at the helm. They continue to claim that the science has changed. Many in the media outside on the fringe are suggesting that the science didn't change, the polling data did. The political science changed. We'll see. Because further questioning on the CDC, and they seem to be deflecting. So the better question in Key Bono and Follow the Money, who is funding the science that we're being told to follow? That's a fair question. And suddenly the opioid crisis in the United States and fentanyl. Fentanyl this and fentanyl that. It's the new boogeyman. Why now the media going there? Why now the need for comprehensive legislative reform when the world is on fire and coming apart at the seams? I don't know. There's another data point in that fentanyl. Last year, kidney, needing new kidney in Colorado or nationwide. Um, they're in desperate need now of living donors here in the United States. Desperate need for a blood supply. We're going to ship it to the Ukraine. No, something's up here. Why is there suddenly this media push on local television stations across the United States for when you go in, because the DMVs may be reopening? Not in Colorado. What are you kidding? They got paid for 2 years to do nothing but make you wait longer? You think they're giving that up? Oh, check the living donor card, because you can save a life and make others potentially very rich. But last year, 200 dead on a list of 1,400 just waiting for kidneys. I should confirm if that's Colorado and nationwide. That's got to be Colorado. 1,400 on the waiting list here in Colorado, with 200 dying. But that seems high. That's 4 people a day dying. That's got to be nationally. But there's 300 million Americans. There's 352 million Americans. 330. I'm using rough numbers, everybody. Calm down, all right? We're done. I got through this with all of you and only a half a cigarette. And you survived for another day, my friend. Anything else on my mind? No. We're good. Keep following the Conspiracy Keepers. Thank you for the comments you got. We're going to have Joe, Backlash, Jackie, and myself. We'll answer them here this week. Not trying to cross the streams. We're just trying to provide more content. So I'm going to see you guys every night, 1 a.m. Eastern, for just a breakdown of the news. A lot of you getting up in the morning, you're getting it fresh. It's been all day for a lot of you. I'm giving you a recap. Tomorrow is Sunday, so I'm going to see, or Monday, depending upon where on the globe you are. Unless you're tomorrow, because yesterday, because you got this tomorrow and you didn't listen till. And oh, these liberals in Hollywood on Twitter, when they opened up the time machine to go back in time to give Putin a hug, I just can't remember what day it is. Ergo, I'll see all of you every night at 1 a.m. Eastern, 11 p.m. Mountain. Hail the Republic. Don't believe a word I said. Take everything with a deep breath, a grain of salt, and a shot of your choice. Yeah, I should have gotten tequila. Maybe somebody will invade Mexico and we can boycott tequila. Oh, but that would mess up your Taco Tuesdays. All right. I'm not trying to be sarcastic, bitter, and mean, but I'm old, and I'm single, and I haven't touched anything soft and smooth since COVID started. So I will apologize for that. Anything else? No. We're good. 24 hours in a day. Almost top of the hour. How about if we just agree that I'll see all of you in about 23 hours? Be well. Be safe. Hail the Republic. Don't believe anything you see, read, or hear first. Take it as a data point. Do a little research. Make up your own mind. Stop having the media unpack it, break it down, and lay it out. Because that's what they do to pigs to slaughter. I'm going to break them into groups. We're going to lay it all out. Slaughter them. And what is going to be the death of this republic? Ignorance. An ignorant society. So don't be ignorant. And don't be afraid to share this with your friends. Find me on Twitter at @TheScooterMcGee, the symbol at, just @TheScooterMcGee on Twitter. Find me on Facebook, Scooter McGee. Find me on Patreon, Scooter McGee. And if you enjoyed this, hit the like button and share it to a friend or two or a platform or two. Let's get the word out and let's see each other tomorrow night. Good night, everybody.